of the day. My name is Palak and you are watching SJMC TV. Today we have a very eminent filmmaker with us, Mr. Vijay S. Jodha. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
So, we would all like to know about your journey as a filmmaker.
Okay, I started a long time back, 30 years back. That time you didn't have internet, you didn't have, certainly didn't have private TV stations were just coming. You didn't have DTH and all OTT, all these wonderful things which have happened. So I started that time. Again, there are not very many mass communication schools either. So a handful of them were there, FTI Pune, for example. And so I went to JNU. I did my master's over there in international relations because I thought that's a good way to get going into. I was not interested in film per se. I was interested in mass communication. So that was a way to get trained in writing, research skills, and stuff like that. I came out and then I worked for a few years. And I decided to specialize in film only for the reason that I discovered that film is something which was combining all my different interests. Interest in traveling, interest in photography, literature, music, and everything coming together in a single art form. So I went to NYU, New York University. That is one of the best film programs in the world now for many years. They've produced a lot of eminent filmmakers, Oliver Stone, Martin Scorsese, Spike Lee, Ang Lee, lots of people. And so that seemed to be a place to go. I had another master's over there, and I started working there in the industry there. So I worked with MTV Networks headquarters, CBS News, and stations and production houses who were doing major stuff. There, unlike India, the markets are very specialized. So there may be a studio which is doing TV commercials, and not just TV commercials, but alcohol, which is a huge segment, obviously. And not just alcohol, they specialize only in beer commercials. They're not doing vodka, for example. So that much of a specialization. And then I've been back here. So film is one part I do. I do photo projects, exhibitions, all kinds of things. So I've done about 5 books and a whole lot of films. Some films pay the bills, not so interesting, and some are your passion. So those are the real things you want to work at.
So, as you have just said that you have published some books, can you please tell us about them?
First book I worked on was the Concept of Time. This was for IGNC. It's an arts institution in Delhi, Indira National Center for Arts. And that was exploring the concept of time across various disciplines and art forms and all of that. A little bit academic oriented thing that is still in print after like 30 years. I did one more project, which was a collaboration with my brother, and he did the pictures, I did the text. This was about aging in India. So we're looking at the concept of aging through a variety of people. So I had identified 400 personalities across India. Some were well-known, people like Khushwant Singh, Bismillah Khan Sahab, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Dr. Swaminathan, father of Green Revolution, Dr. Varghese Kurian, father of White Revolution. So all kinds of people, some obviously achievers, some unsung heroes doing something very, very extraordinary but not so famous. Some forgotten heroes, freedom fighters, people like that. And about a third of them were people who are not famous or anything, but represented one or other facet of the larger aging process. So you had abandoned widows, you had some other issues, so all of that. So we made a book out of it. UN had presented it as a traveling show because it was 99 was the year of older persons, and it's traveled all over the world. It's was in Limca Book of Records. That was the biggest social communication project of its kind. So that was one project. I did another project on Tiranga, which was again in the Limca Book of Records. That was again the biggest project dealing with our flag, in which I interviewed people across the board. So right from people selling, poor people selling flags for a few rupees profit on the traffic lights, to the person at the very top. So I interviewed Prime Minister of India, Vajpayee at that time, and then people in the middle. So again, from Amitabh Bachchan to Infosys head to Wipro boss to PT Usha, every field, all kinds of people on the idea of flag and patriotism or what does it mean. So my interest is that the whole idea with media and especially with non-fiction is that there is thousands of subjects, you can work on anything. So I've done stuff in all kinds of things, all kinds of places. So in Tihar jail you have gone and you have done something, a painter's biography. You've done. There's one film which I was trying to show to your friends today. Unfortunately, we didn't have good connectivity. That is focusing only on camel dung. So, like cow dung, camel dung is not a subject, but I made, and that's gone all over the world. It's a well received project, got tons of awards and all of that. So you can do anything on any project. It's really up to you. Yeah.
So, which is that one movie that is really close to your heart that you want to put light on it, and why?
Well, there are lots of films like that. Not my own stuff, I don't want to talk about, but the other people, what they've done, I just feel, people like Satyajit Ray, for example, what they achieved was just incredible, and we cannot at all sitting here today, with all the cameras and gizmos and all of that. And, it's like the world has got flattened. You are using the same WhatsApp and Facebook as a rich kid in a rich country would be using, right? So we are all having the same access. You didn't have the 1950s when India just got independence. I'm talking about, 5-6 years after independence. We were so behind in every field. And he made the movie which was, what do you call, like the toast of the whole world. And believe you me, Satyajit Ray's films, no matter which film school you go to in the world, whether it's in France, whether it's in NYU where I went, or any other FTIA Pune, everywhere his films are required viewing. If you want to understand cinema, you'll have to pass through that. He's such a great guy. So his films, they are really a benchmark. And I'm not saying every film was brilliant, but the ones which are brilliant were just extraordinary, and such a passionate person. And he was doing film, and he was writing books, stories for kids, illustrations. He was making his own film posters, and by the end of it he was editing and doing music and everything, and not a trained filmmaker at all. He didn't go to a film school or anything. So that's just amazing.
So, what are there any concluding remarks that you would like to give and your experience here with R Mangalam University and SJMC department?
Well, this is the second time I'm here. You had a festival a few years back where you invited me as a chief guest, so I had come that time. That time you had Professor Malik was your vice chancellor, and Dr. Kiran, I think, was heading your mass communication at that point. So it's always a pleasure to come here. And I think, for which is what I was telling your friends in that lecture that I had, that, it's really up to you. What you put in, you will get at the end. Unlike other fields, we are always into that whole rat race business. Here, if you do some good work, it is going to go places. There's no way in the world that it will not travel. Just as you go on internet or somebody sends you WhatsApp some small video, you have no idea who's done it, but it's interesting. So you look at it again, you'll share it with people. Same way you make some nice film, doesn't matter, short, longer, whatever, it will travel. And now all the prominent festivals, they are sending people to India, to scout for the unhidden diamond in the rough, as we call it. So there may be diamonds in your batch, but you have to work at it. That's what I would suggest.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was Mr. Vijay S. Jodha with us, who shared his insights and experiences. That's all for today. For more, stay connected with SJMC TV.